Today's topic: how serious is the current supply chain shortage? That is what we're going to talk about today. But before we are going to do that, do me one favor. I know that LinkedIn did some changes with their live streams and their live events. So I just want to make sure that all the tech is working. So if you can see and hear me loud and clear, then please let me know. Say hello in the chat or hit the like button. Just to make sure that you can see and hear me loud and clear and I'm not talking to myself over here. All right, so let's talk about supply chain. What I want to do today is to look a little bit in the past, look back at the last 18 months to understand a little bit better what happened or what are the reasons for the current situation that we are having right now. And then, of course, we will talk a little bit about the current status quo, meaning, how does the current supply chain situation look right now from a global perspective? And then, we maybe have a look in the future. Maybe we will do some predictions and talk a little bit about how the next months, next years going to look like and how long we will actually have to deal with that supply chain mess that we are seeing right now. And as always, if you have a question, if you have any thoughts, feel free to let me know, to put them in the chat, to share them, and to have a open conversation. That's why we are having these live streams to share thoughts, share ideas, and hopefully we all learn a little bit through that process. All right, so let's think back in March 2020, beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, what happened back then. And I think what we could see there was one of the main principles of the supply chain logic that we're having today, meaning the just-in-time premise. So that most supply chains are structured or built in a way that the goods and the raw materials arriving just in time, so that the shelf life and the storage is kept at a minimum. And you might be able to remember situation, March, April 2020, when because of that, the pandemic hit and people started buying all the goods in the supermarkets, for example, toilet paper. And then because the demand for toilet paper in that example, skyrocketed. And then in a very short period amount of time, there was no toilet paper available. And you might remember that situation. And toilet paper might be one of the things that you remember quite vividly. But of course, toilet paper was not the only good that was then in high demand. So meaning we had, because of the pandemic situation, we had the situation that a lot of people started buying or stockpiling up different goods. And of course, on the other hand, we also saw the situation of a labor shortage, meaning because of the quarantine restrictions in the different countries, in the different factories, production shut down in big parts of the globe, mainly China, for example. When we when we are aware of the fact that China is basically the factory for the world and the workshop for the world, and is producing a lot of the products that the rest of the world is buying. And if then China shuts down, we felt that very quickly in the global production capability. So meaning, we saw a labor shortage, we saw, the shutdown of production capabilities of factories, of facilities, and therefore, the whole economy cooled down a little bit, and that's why we saw, that economic dip in 2020. And of course, a lot of the companies, or a lot of the, not only companies, but a lot of the factories and capacities that we had back then didn't bounce back that quickly, meaning they didn't ramp up production, or are just not able to ramp up production that quickly. And that's the situation that we had, or the problem that we then had back then, meaning we had on the one hand an increasing demand, meaning a lot of the population is staying at home, working at home, is not traveling. And now that money that is available in the households needs to be spent, or people want to spend it at some way or form. And instead of, for example, traveling or taking a holiday, taking a vacation, people started buying more and more stuff online. So the whole e-commerce sector, the retail sector, the whole logistics sector saw a kind of revival situation mid-end last year. And of course, a lot of the supply chain, a lot of the global supply chain is not that flexible, cannot react that fast for the changing demand cycles, or these quickly changing demand cycles. And therefore, a lot of the companies, a lot of countries were hesitant to, on the one hand, from a policy level, to open up the country again, or losing quarantine restrictions and so on. And on the other hand, companies are also hesitant to ramp up production or to invest back into the facilities, because at the end of the day, nobody knows how stable that kind of small economic recovery that we're seeing right now actually is. So a lot of companies, a lot of people are very hesitant in actually opening back up their full capabilities. Then what we are seeing, or what we saw last year, what we're seeing becoming more and more relevant in 2021, and potentially even more in 2022, is that we are through the board seeing energy prices getting more expensive. Meaning, no matter if we're looking at the oil price, I think, when I'm recording this right now, Thursday, October 21st, I think we have over $80 the barrel crude oil. Gas prices are rising over for months now, especially heading into the winter months now, where a lot of energy is needed to just heat homes and so on. But not only oil and gas, also the electricity prices are increasing. For example, especially in China, we're seeing the situation that some areas, some provinces and some companies are shut down because the energy supply is just not high enough to meet the supply, the demand. that is there. So meaning, China itself, although they producing a lot of their energy by themselves through their coal plants, looking or facing a kind of energy crisis right now. Stacy says, "Thank God we didn't have shortage of toilet paper in Jamaica." Yeah, that was a funny and very weird situation back then. But yeah, fortunately, that problem is solved now. But yeah, I think that was a really impressive picture how thin or how quick supply chain can dry out, and how quickly some daily staples can become unavailable. All right, so again, what was the situation? We have that economic dip last year, where we saw an decreasing demand in the world economy and goods and services. Then we saw a very quick recovery where people stopped traveling but started buying more stuff, and now these products have to, on the first hand, have first of all produced. A lot of the production capabilities in China are shut down or are limited because of the labor shortage, or because of the energy crisis over there. So things can't really be produced in the first step. Then the second step, 90% of the global cargo is transported by ship. And same here. On the one hand, we have high oil and high fuel, high energy prices to operate these ships. I think the shipping cost for a 40-foot container quadrupled over the last 12 months, maybe even more. So shipping costs also increased very much over the last 12, 18 months. But not only that, even if the products are getting produced, are loaded onto a ship and can be actually shipped to the destination, a lot of the gold ports are not really able to unload the cargo as fast as it's coming in. For example, when you look at pictures from the west coast of the US, for example, the Los Angeles harbor and harbors in Europe like Rotterdam and so on, you see dozens of big container ships that are basically waiting in front of the harbor, waiting outside the harbor to be cleared to be unloaded. Meaning, again, there are just not enough workers in the logistic hubs to unload the ships and then to take that cargo and to put it either on train or on trucks, which then is the next bottleneck. For example, when we look at the UK, fifth largest economy of the world, they are facing a truck driver shortage. Literally, they cannot get enough truck drivers to ship. To ship is the wrong word here, but to move the goods from the ports to the businesses and to the people. Some of that, of course, has to do with the Brexit situation, that the UK left the European Union, and therefore, it's a little bit more complicated for them to do business and to trade now. But that just gives you a little idea how quickly these supply chains can become disrupted. And that's pretty much the situation that we are facing today. So on the one hand, we have huge delays in the supply chain itself, in the logistic, in the ship shipping lanes itself, meaning it can take weeks, sometimes months, till a certain raw material or product is actually available, and then is actually be able to be shipped and be actually available in time. So that's a big problem. Then on top of that, we have high energy and fuel prices that, of course, affect the whole situation. Meaning, on the one hand, that affects the shipping costs, transportation costs, and of course, production costs itself. When if energy is expensive, not only for shipping but also for production. And then we see the global labor shortage is still a problem for a lot of countries, and therefore the whole world economy is still not back on the production capabilities that it was before the pandemic. So let's talk a little bit about the future. Let's make some predictions how that will actually going to play out. And of course, if you're watching this live with me right now, feel free to share your thoughts or put your questions in the chat. Let's have an open conversation about the current situation. So for me, the question is, or one of the questions is, how will that, or how are we going to solve that kind of shortage in labor that we are seeing right now, or that bottleneck in production capability? Because of course, when the economy kind of retracted, the companies decreased their volume, decreased their production capability. And now the question for them is, okay, what are we going to do? Are we hiring new people or rehire the people again to ramp up production? And I think that is a big question mark that we have to be aware of, or are we going to invest more into automation? And I think that's important or that question is relevant for two areas. One area is certainly production, meaning most companies or almost every factory or company is aware that with an investment in automation, they can save a lot of money. They can maybe even produce cheaper, produce faster, produce more flexible, and can react quicker on changes in the demand and supply situation in the future. So I think that is a question that every company, every factory has to answer for themselves. And that not in every industry, but I think in a lot of industries that can or could be a potentially big advantage over hiring humans like they did in the past, with all the problems and all the advantages and all the disadvantages that this is coming. So one area is the production facilities, factories, and so on. I think we will see an increase in automation or in investments in automation there. And then the second area where I think we will going to see an increase in automation will be the complete logistic and shipping industry. Namely, for example, truck drivers. Let's take Tesla, for example, as a car company that is working on autonomous cars and autonomous trucks. And I think that whole field is basically a field without future, meaning nobody is really going to start a job as a truck driver knowing that in the next 10, maybe 20 years, that job will be obsolete. So I think, that's the reason why nobody who is starting or nobody that is entering the workforce today is actually realistically considering a job in the truck or logistic industry as a truck driver. On the other hand, we need truck drivers right now to get that increased or the more products that we are buying online and shipping and so on, that we actually can get them to the customer. So I think over the next few years we will probably see kind of gap, or where we need to bridge that gap between autonomous vehicles, autonomous trucks are actually here and here to stay and are a reliable technology. And on the other hand, how do we actually make sure that we still have enough human truck drivers to fill in the gaps and to make sure that the products are actually going to be delivered to the businesses and to the end customers and consumers. So I think, again, automation will play a big role in production on the one hand, and in logistics and in shipping, truck driving, and so on the other hand. Thoughts so far? For some reason, I still can't see how many people are there on LinkedIn watching right now. So if you are on LinkedIn, even if you're watching live right now, do me a favor and not only hit the like button, but maybe say hello, just so that I get a feeling how many people are actually watching on LinkedIn and if it's actually working at all, and that the recent changes that LinkedIn did through their live stream platform, that it didn't throw, or that my setup is still working. All right, so we talked about the reasons why we have the current situation right now with the supply chain shortage, or the supply chain situation that we're facing right now. I said, or I predicted, that I think that we will see over the next years growth in automation in these sectors, but I think we will also see a development into more data-driven demand prediction, meaning I think more and more companies realizing right now how important it is to predict their demand, to be able to predict the demand and the supply in their supply chain, and make sure that they match them to each other. And therefore I think a lot of companies will focus more and more on first collecting more and more data, collecting more and more first party data, and then second of all, to make sure that they build predictable models, so that they that they have more forecast time, basically, to react on certain changes that we see in the market. Stacy says, I think we will be replaced with robots, plus they've started already. Certainly true. I mean, especially, for example, when we look at manufacturing, when we look at car manufacturing, for example, Tesla tried to have a 100% automated or robotics production that didn't work. So I think that humans will still be a big part of production and in the workforce in general. But you're absolutely right. I think we will see more and more industries, more and more spaces, more and more areas where humans will get replaced by robots. And I think I would say that's a good thing or a positive thing, because at the end of the day, most of these jobs are very low-level jobs, very repetitive jobs, and not necessarily jobs that humans want to do. So I think if we are more and more able to replace repetitive jobs with robotics, with robots, or with software, for example, then we get more brain capacity, more human capacity, more free human capacity to focus on more important or more complex problems where humans still can solve better than software or algorithms, AI or robots can do today. So I think we will certainly see an acceleration in that field. And I think especially right now when we have these disruptions in the supply chain, I think more and more companies will have a really focused look on the certain parts of the supply chain and ask themselves, okay, what can we automate? Where does it actually make sense to make that investment into machinery, into automation? And where do we actually need, where does it actually make sense to use more human labor, more human work, and where can they actually shine? So interesting field, but I think especially in next years we will see a lot of progress over here. So, and I want to talk about one other big shortage that we haven't talked about as yet, and that is quite fascinating, to be honest, and that is the chip shortage that we're seeing again through basically all the industries, because the chip market is a very interesting one. There are basically only a handful of companies, of factories that actually manufacture computer chips by themselves. One is TSMC, production or a company, a Taiwanese company, and then we have a few other companies like Intel and so on. But it's only a handful. And in today's day and age, basically, or not basically in every product, but in a lot of products are now in some way or form chips built in, no matter if we're talking about your phone, your laptop, your notebook, the screen, your coffee machine, whatever, your car. All of them using more and more chips or computer chips. Or for example, when we look at the blockchain sector, at the cryptocurrency sector, more and more Bitcoin or crypto miners are using GPUs, graphics cards with very fast chips to mine cryptocurrencies. For example, till a few weeks ago in China, because energy was cheap there. So we see another big use of chips. For example, in Bitcoin mining, we see it in PlayStations that cannot be manufactured and cannot be delivered in time. So and we see these ripple effects through these industries where we only have, or where we have a few bottlenecks, and as soon these bottlenecks get clogged or the supply cannot fulfill the demand, we see quick problems arising even in completely different industries where you think, oh, they might not be even related to one another. So I would definitely also make sure, depending on what industry you are in or what manufacturing you are doing, that you be aware of the current chip or the not available chipless supply globally. I'm concerned about that because crime and violence plus poverty levels are rising. You mean you are concerned because of automation, or why are you concerned that crimes and violence and poverty levels are rising? Because when we're looking on a global scale, contrarian to what most media outlets want to make you believe, that everything is getting worse. That's just not the case. When we look at global statistics, we see decreasing poverty rates. We see decreasing violence, physical violence. We see decreasing murder rates. We see decreasing child mortality, and all of these things, meaning on basically every metric that we can think of, humanity does better. A lot of that thanks to technology or technological innovations that we invented over the last 100 years. But I mean, I would agree to the notion that a lot of these technological changes are happening quite fast, and that we have to be aware, or have to be careful how we actually going to use them, because we're just not able to foresee a lot of these developments, a lot of the decisions that we're going to make today that will maybe then play out decades from now. So I would agree with the notion that we have to be very aware of a lot of the decisions that we are making today, because technology is developing so fast, and we might not be able to foresee certain decisions that we're making today. All right. So let me have a look at the comments. Do we have any other questions so far? Doesn't look like that right now. So if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We usually have 10-15 seconds delay, so take your time. It can maybe take a few seconds till I respond. All right, so let's recap really quick. What did happen over the last 18 months that we are in the current situation that caused the current situation that we are seeing right now. So of course, COVID-19 hit at the beginning of 2020. Everything shut down. The whole world basically came to an halt, and factories got shut down, logistics hubs got shut down, and so on. And because most of our supply chains work on a just-in-time principle, we don't really have a lot of storage facilities where we have big stockpiles of products. So therefore, as soon as the demand for a certain product was a little higher than the supply, or as soon as the supply couldn't keep up with the maybe even increasing demand, because people were now staying at home and spending their money that they might spend on traveling or other things on vacation, they now spend on improving the home, buying new stuff, buying the new phone, buying the new TV or whatever, buying the new car, and spending the money that way. And of course, now that increased demand hits not really prepared supply chain, meaning most of the factories are still on reduced capacity. Most of the shipping lines and logistics hubs are not back on 100%. And other external factors, like for example in March this year, then we saw that the Ever Given got stuck in the Suez Canal, meaning another big artery of the global trade got clogged, and we're still seeing that ripple effect, the domino effect till today. So yeah, we basically, and that's basically still the situation that we are seeing today. On the one hand, we have an increasing demand, especially in the US, in Europe, where we see the economy, or at least the hunger for people to buy stuff, to get kind of back to normal. People start buying products again, but on the other hand, we see that the current supply chain situation cannot keep up with the increasing demand, meaning we have energy shortages, basically all over the globe. We have energy shortage in China, meaning a lot of the factories there cannot produce on 100% capacity. We're seeing energy shortage in Europe, in the UK, where people have to pay a multiple for their energy or for heating their house than we saw 1 or 2 years ago. So we really see a spike in energy prices and oil prices and gas prices and electricity prices through the board, all over the globe. And then of course combine that with a labor shortage all over the globe, because of still existing quarantine measures and so on. And then we basically have the perfect storm, or the situation that we're having today, meaning we're having a backlog of weeks, sometimes months, for certain products. Certain raw materials, certain products are not available at all in certain markets, in certain countries. And depending on who you are talking to, most people are expecting that we probably will see these effects continuing till the mid or maybe even the end of 2022, maybe even into the beginning of 2023, depending on how quickly we can ramp up production again, or how quickly we can get these supply chain issues solved. And the question, or some of the questions, how we can or how companies are going to solve them, is for sure bigger investment, not only in the labor force, but I think we will also see a bigger investment into automation with a lot of companies. Again, I said it earlier on, I think we will see bigger investments in production capabilities. We will see more automation there, and not only production, but also in the logistics side of things, we will see more automation, for example, in the truck driving industry. We see that, or we see a lot of automation already today. For example, when we look at these big container ships, where basically a container ship with 20,000 containers is managed by a crew of 20, 30 people, meaning one person effectively moves 1,000 containers through the world oceans. So I think that's already very effective. But then when we translate that, for example, then onto the road, now we need one truck driver for one container to bring that now from the ship, from the port, to a business, to another factory, or to the end consumer. So I think, that we probably have a lot more efficiency that we can generate here with autonomous cars, trucks, what have you, or maybe bigger investment into train, into railway. But again, I think besides production, besides factory, I think we will see a big investment in the transportation and logistics sector. And then third prediction, where I think we will see even more and more cost savings for companies is in the supply chain. When we're talking about more predictive analytics, meaning the more and the better data companies, supply chain companies can generate, can collect first-party data, third-party data, and based on that, they can then build their predictive models, meaning they can predict better when do they actually need to buy their raw materials, when is the demand high, when is the supply high, and can just better calculate their whole supply chain, and can generate better cost savings and overall better efficiencies. So I think although we're seeing a hard time right now, I think the whole sector will be will come out stronger out of the current situation. All right, that was a long monologue. I have a few more minutes. So before we wrap this up, I'm interested in your thoughts, in your questions. Where do you see actually problems in the supply chain right now, maybe in your current situation or in your organization? Let me know. And if we don't have any more questions, that's also absolutely fine. Then we're going to wrap this up at this point in time. And if you're staying with me through the whole live stream, or if you're watching this as a replay, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I hope you learned a little bit, and maybe it sparked a few thoughts. And maybe you have a few ideas that you can implement in your organization, in your business. If that was actually helpful, make sure to leave a like, hit the thumbs up, depending on the platform you are watching right now. That's usually the best way to support the show. If you haven't done so as yet, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the bell notification after you subscribed to make sure that you actually get notified whenever we release a new video, or when I go live, so that you actually get that little notification. Till then, I wish you all the best. I wish you a great week, great day. And generally speaking, if you want to learn more about my thoughts, I have a weekly publication via email where I share my thoughts, my predictions about economics, about business, technology, and so on. And feel free to sign up for that. You should find the link to that in the description if you're watching this on the YouTube channel. All right. Thank you very much, Stacy. Great to hear that you learned something. I hope everybody else watching can agree to that. All right, that's it for today. That's it so far. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.